In this video, I'll be counting down the top 5 conventions to go to in 2020. There are many things to take into consideration when choosing a convention to attend. How busy it is, the guests that are attending, the panels that the show is putting on, con exclusives, things to do at the convention as well as in the surrounding areas, how easy it is to get tickets, and also how easy it is to get accommodation. With that in mind, let's count down the top 5 conventions to go to in 2020. Number 5, Penny Arcade Expo, or PAX. Originated in Seattle with PAX Prime and slowly spreading across the globe, Penny Arcade Expo has become one of the largest gaming conventions outside of E3. There are so many things to do at PAX with all the big publishers showing off their upcoming games, as well as a ton of indie titles that are waiting to be discovered. The Indie Mega Booth is a staple at PAX, allowing independent developers a platform to promote their upcoming games. The only downside is there is so much to do in these conventions, there tend to be fewer people cosplaying. Also, the days of free swag bags are gone. Back in 2014, I would easily walk away with 6 or 7 t-shirts, plus some amazing carrying bags. Now you have to line up for hours to play a game, or more often than not, they're just selling all the merch. My favorite PAX swag bag was this carrying bag from Behemoth. Number 4, Emerald City Comicon. Held in Seattle, Washington every March. I've been attending this since 2005, when there was only 4,000 attendees. Fun fact, when I went in 2005, I spent all day in Travis Chare's line and was lucky enough to get an original sketch from him, free of charge. It was a different time back then. Today the convention has grown to 90,000 plus attendees, with huge artist alleys, stellar guest lists, and very exciting panels and exclusives. It is the premier con of the Pacific Northwest. And because Funko HQ is located in Washington, they have a huge presence in the show. The level of cosplay at Emerald City Comic-Con is top-notch. It features some stunning cosplays that will delight and amaze anyone attending. The Washington Convention Center is one of the best places for cosplay photography, with open windows that let in tons of natural light, as well as amazing green scenery in Freeway Park. It allows your photos to just come alive with very little background distractions. The only downsides is that the convention is held in March, and the Seattle weather can be a little uncooperative, where it can be freezing or raining or both. Number 3, San Diego Comic-Con, the granddaddy of them all, the oldest, most famous convention there is. When you say Comic-Con, you mean San Diego Comic-Con. Originally starting 50 years ago in 1970 with 145 attendees, it has grown now to 125,000 people, and that's only because it reaches capacity. It hosts the biggest panels in the industry, where people camp out overnight just to get in, as a lot of movie news, TV announcements, and trailers are debuted here. With all your favorite celebrities showing up in person, you never know who you might just run into. San Diego Comic-Con is a non-profit convention, which makes it different from most other cons. There is no celebrity photo booth, VIP packages, etc. Instead, they make an appearance at the studio booth, where they do free signings, if you're lucky enough to be one that makes it into the lineup. There are also a huge amount of toy exclusives and merch announced and released at this show. The city of San Diego embraces Comic-Con, wrapping all the trains and buildings in pop culture promos for upcoming shows. The only problem with the show is that it sells out within the hour, making it very hard to get tickets if you haven't been before. Also, finding somewhere to stay is incredibly difficult, as there are only 12,000 rooms in the downtown core and over 100,000 people trying to find these rooms. So it's been dubbed as Hotel Apocalypse by many on the internet. If you manage to get tickets for this year, good luck, and I hope to see you there. Number 2, WonderCon. Run by the same non-profit team as San Diego, WonderCon is a smaller and less busy show, hosting roughly 60,000 attendees. It's much easier to get tickets and less insane to get around. With some decent panels, big celebrity guests, and a huge show floor, there is a lot to do. Where the show really stands out is the level of cosplay. Some of the best cosplays I've seen all year are held at this show. And because it's held at the Anaheim Convention Center, it's right next to Disneyland, so there's lots of hotels to stay at, and then you can pop over to Disneyland after the convention. Now before I get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Keep an eye out for them, and I hope to visit them in the near future. If you're into anime, KatsuCon and Anime Expo are definitely worth hitting up. If you're in Europe, MCM London is one of the top British cons to go to. And if you're into Blizzard games, BlizzCon is the show for you. It's just incredibly difficult to get tickets. There's New York Comic Con, which is one of the largest cons in America. And finally, C2E2, which takes place in Chicago and hosts a very popular cosplay contest. And the number 1 convention to visit to in 2020 Drumroll please. DragonCon. Hands down the best convention I've ever been to. It's a 5-day party focused on cosplay. With over 85,000 attendees, the thing that makes DragonCon stand out from every other con is that it takes place in 5 hotels and runs 24 hours a day. It's got the reputation for a bit of a party con, but there's also so much more. There are so many panels to attend, they are separated into their own tracks. For example, there is a science track, a costuming track, media, and many, many more. This is known as the Cosplayers Con, as the majority of guests will usually be in cosplay. And not just normal cosplay, there's a lot of mashups and deep cuts to discover. It is quite a delight to go. The con is also relatively affordable. If you get tickets early enough, it can range around $80 for 5 days. Did I leave any conventions out? Let me know in the comments what your favorite pop culture convention is, and check out my other cosplay music videos from the various conventions mentioned.